Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel where I talk about movies. The movie I want to talk about today comes from 2000. This is You Can Count on Me. And this stars Laura Linney, Mark Ruffalo, Matthew Broderick, written and directed by Kenneth Lonergan. And I do not have a physical release of this film. It is it has been it is in the Criterion Collection, and it was streaming on the Criterion channel, but on February 1st it disappeared. But you can see it for free streaming on Hoopla, like Canopy, a streaming service that you get with your library card. You Can Count on Me stars Laura Linney as Sammy. She's living in a small town upstate New York. She works at a bank. She's the loan officer, and she has a small child, Rudy, played by Rory Culkin, and they live alone in a big house. She does have a boyfriend, Bob, but this is a long-going relationship that never seemed to really go anywhere as time seems to have passed. And she also has a brother who's coming to visit, a younger brother. And we learn in the opening segment of the film that their parents were killed when they were children, brought up presumably by an aunt. Sammy, Laura Linney's character, has learned to adjust. She's muddling through her life, no doubt, but she's still aware of her responsibilities to her son, Rudy, being a single parent. Rudy's father is not part of Rudy's life, and so it's a very, very challenging situation for her. Now, her younger brother has not adopted very well to his growing up, and he's on the road. Sammy never knows where Terry is. Terry, played by Mark Ruffalo, but he's coming home from a rare visit, and so Sammy is really excited about this, but she soon learns that Terry is basically there because he needs money. At her workplace, there's a new manager. This is Matthew Broderick. He's Brian, and he's a by-the-rules guy. He's brand new. He wants to exert his authority, make the bank over in his image. And so Brian and Sammy don't get along good because Brian learns that Sammy uses part of her lunch break later in the afternoon so she can pick up Rudy from school and take him to his babysitter. Brian objects to that. You gotta find a different way, and he wants to remake other areas of the bank, much to Sammy's discomfort and also the employees. So they have some pretty good battles here. It's a very interesting relationship, but really all the relationships here are good. When Terry comes to town, he tries to become the father image that Rudy really needs, and Sammy is hoping that this is going to happen, and that perhaps Terry could stick around longer. But Terry hates this small town atmosphere where he thinks it's full of hypocrisy, and his older sister is becoming part of this hypocrisy. And then, so again, these are characters that are in a muddle. Their lives seem to be a bit meandering. Both the love life of Sammy and Terry. I mean, he just seems a totally lost character. But we have sympathy for all these characters, and as the plot progresses, Sammy wants the local minister to Father Don, and this is played by Kenneth Lonergan himself. And these are really crucial scenes. Where do we go to find out what's the right thing to do in life? Where do we go in life to get proper counseling? And so Father Don tries to counsel Terry to understand that it's important to find something to do in your life and accept responsibility. And then Sammy goes back to Father Don because she's confused about some of the incidents in her own romantic life, and She wants some certainty, but Father Don obviously is kind of situational ethics, and so everything is rather confusing. But these are characters that despite all that, they move on. Now, Terry proves to be irresponsible in his father figure towards Rudy. He's rebellious. He's still rebellious, and so there's this is very much a playwright's kind of play. And Kenneth Lonergan was a playwright, and this is based on one of his early plays. This is Our Youth, which also starred Mark Ruffalo off Broadway. And so we have great scenes of dialogue. We have there was no improvisation. We learn in the extras. Allowed Lonergan, and that's common on the stage, but in movies not so much. So there was no improvisation, and it's very naturalistic. Lonergan in kind of a you can harken back to, say, Tennessee Williams or even Arthur Miller in their depiction of difficult relationships, family relationships. They're much more melodramatic. Lonergan is not. Lonergan keeps an even keel. It's a slice of life film, but it gets under your skins because you really care about these characters. They really seem like they seem like they're real people. Now, and they're dealing with a tragedy of a few years before. Lonergan's other films, Margaret, he only made 2 more films. Hopefully another one will come. Margaret, made a few years later in Manchester by the Sea. They're dealing with tragedy and how you respond and react. How do you overcome tragedy in their characters' lives? Lonergan had actually written a script for Analyze This, but he seemed to come out of nowhere in 2000. Writer-director, there's an interview, there's a commentary on the Criterion edition. Lonergan wanted to direct it himself because he thought it probably would have a better chance of actually getting made, whether they assigned directors in this period of Hollywood and probably today. Directors would get aboard and then leave, get aboard and leave. And so the writer-director appealed to the production company, but he wanted final cut, and they didn't want to give him final cut. So he had known Martin Scorsese. He was friends with Martin Scorsese, and he contributed to the script later on of Gangs of New York. But so Scorsese agreed to be the executive producer and had the right of final cut. So Lonergan felt comfortable with that. So there wouldn't be what's called creative differences with a production company, which isn't creative at all. But they wanted big name stars, or at least big names. Matthew Broderick came aboard to play the bank manager, and he got the financing going. Laura Linney read the script. She absolutely loved him. But then there was the question of who's going to play Terry. And Mark Ruffalo thought for sure that was him, but he had only had bit parts. He spent almost 10 years in Hollywood, basically waiting on tables to make a living, and also he was being trained by Stella Adler, and I think he also helped found a theater company in Los Angeles. But this was his part, and certainly when the film came out, he got great attention. Who is this guy? He's kind of like a new version of Marlon Brando, maybe James Dean, that rebelliousness, that dislike of hypocrisy. The world is just not, he's just not finding a place in the world. And, very taciturn, reluctant to express his feelings, not even seeming how to know his feelings. Ruffalo is great at all this stuff. Now, Laura Linney, she got an Academy Award nomination, and boy, does she really deserve it, because this is such a beautiful portrayal of a woman, a single mother trying to make her way, trying to reestablish family bonds. And Broderick is there. It's he makes. I think he does really good with the part that he has, and it provides some of the comic relief. And I thought Lonergan was very good as well. Of course, Ruffalo went on to great, stardom, and actually the Marvel Universe is the Hulk, and Linney's going on to a really good career as well. Now, I saw Lonergan making only 3 plays, and it's now 26 years, 10 years, I think, since Manchester by the Sea. But he is writing plays. He's also, I was unaware of this, he was the creator of the BBC adaptation of Howard's End. I'm going to see if I can find that streaming because I wasn't aware of it. But I did see one of his plays off Broadway. Hold On to Me, Darling, it's called. It starred Timothy Oliphant, and it was revived off Broadway a couple years ago. And it was Adam Driver, I think, played the part. And I would think that would be an excellent movie if Lonergan wanted to and he could find funding for it, because it's a really good play. So the reception for You Can Count on Me was very good. Roger Ebert, 4 stars, excellent reviews across the board, a mild hit. I guess you could say it was a hit because it was such a low budget film. It made exponentially its budget. It's really a movie, I think, that will stick with you. You want to revisit. These are characters you become interested in. Okay, thanks a lot for everybody who listened. I really do appreciate it. Comments are welcome. Take care.